Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, Lord, all your praise, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kodash. And no honors to the elders, sing honors to the apostles, preaching, teaching us the word of truth with sincerity as always. Without any further ado, I just want to get into this lesson here, going into the mark of the beast, third war. On how this third war is intensifying. Sorry, this is Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38, let's go into this first. Something a little bit about this. Ezekiel 38 first here. Ezekiel 38 prophesies a future end times invasion of a restored Israel by a massive coalition of nations led by Gog of the land of Magog. God intervenes directly to destroy his army on the mountains of Israel, demonstrating his sovereignty and holiness to the world. This pivotal event occurs when Israel is dwelling in security. That's on point. And half of that prophecy is already been fulfilled. It's still being fulfilled. Still happening present day, present time. Half of it hasn't happened yet. For example, the missiles being shot at Israel, the land of Israel. The missiles being shot here in America. And then the Gog being judged by the Lord Yahweh. Which the Valley of Yahweh connects to that chapter. That's in Joel. I think it's the third chapter. Around verse 12, 13, 15, I think. The Valley of decision. Multitudes in the Valley of decision. So that's what this whole Israel and Iran situation right now is about. That is what that is leading to. That's what that's going to lead to. That is the purpose and reason for all that going on over there right now. Key aspects of the Ezekiel 38th chapter players. Gog is the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, often associated with modern-day Russia, northern regions. Yeah, they even have that on point. The coalition includes Persia, that's Iran, Kush, Ethiopia, Sudan, Hamite nations, the Egypt area, which Egypt ain't even a nation anymore. That's another topic. Put Libya, Gomor, and Beth Togarmah, Turkey, Armenia region. The timing, the prophecy is set for the latter years or latter days, specifically after the Jews people have been regathered from many nations back to the land of Israel. And you can say that's true, because in the way we spiritually have been gathered together, that's what they ain't referring it to us though. The true Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Indians, Native American Indians, and Latinos, and Negroes, stuff like that. In the latter years, specifically after the Jew people have been gathered together from many nations back to the land of Israel. And yeah, that's true too. That's also true because ultimately it also mentions in there how Russia's gonna really attack and send their armies, their troops, their military might, which is their missiles, here to America when we are gathered together. So that is also true. It's a twofold scripture. Ezekiel 38 is twofold. It's really not just talking about the land of Israel being destroyed. It's also talking about the elected that's going to be gathered. And it also attacked by Russia. It depicts a time when Israel is dwelling in peace and security, often interpreted as occurring either before or at the time of the tribulation. Yeah, that's during the time of the start of the not the start of tribulation, but when Yahushua returns. The motive: God plots a sinister plan to attack the peaceful, unsuspecting people of Israel to seize spoils. God's intervention. Yeah, the literal land of Israel over there is going to be destroyed. God's intervention. God, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua declares his fury against Gog, causing a massive earthquake. It's going to be through nuclear missiles. And actually, yeah, Russia ain't going to feel the earthquake. It talks about how Russia's going to cause, the Lord's going to cause Russia. Let me go get it. I got it. Yeah, let me get this in here in Ezekiel 38 verse. Where it mentions the earthquake, because they're talking about over here once again. They're talking about God plots a sinister plan. God, Yahweh Hashem shall declare his fury against Gog, causing a massive earthquake, creating confusion so that every man's sword will be against his brother. That's mentioned here in Ezekiel 38:20. So that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. That's going into America being judged, America being destroyed. That's how. It's not talking about a literal earthquake. Let's see here. Yeah, but I have some videos that I want to play. Start with this one first.
they didn't have a choice to go into the.
All I'm going to say is the allies to Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea. I really don't see Russia getting involved, but China and North Korea, we should all be afraid, right? I'm afraid to even say North Korea and China. I don't care how strong they say our military is, we should all be afraid.
Okay, yeah, she's going off there by saying Russia's not gonna get involved. Russia's already been involved. And they're the ones who's gonna shoot the first missile here in America when the war starts. So Russia is involved. They're definitely involved. They're gonna get even more involved. And also, what I noticed from this looking at the news going into Saudi Arabia, this one here.
And you can hear explosions in the background. That is Israel, as their defense system is stopping so much of the incoming. Much of the Middle East is on high alert. This is day 4 of Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion, which is the Israeli part of what you see now. Iran and its terror proxies are escalating retaliatory.
Iran steps up retaliatory strikes in Gulf region.
Attacks striking Israel and now most of the Gulf nations, if you can believe that. Now, when we first saw this, we thought
that they attacked all those nations again. Cyprus, Israel, Jordan, Syria. There's like 15 nations that they attacked. At this point.
Is that on purpose? Didn't really know what to make of it. Day 4, Iran is unleashing on their neighbors at this point. U.S. embassies and bases are also under fire. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Israel is moving fast to destroy Tehran's missile capabilities. The Israeli Defense Force is also launching simultaneous strikes in Tehran and Lebanon, in Beirut. The conflict is rapidly expanding now, and Iran is destroying.
They hit Iran with 70 missiles, 59 drones. Qatar got hit with 2 Iranian jets. 7 missiles, 5 drones. United Arab Emirates got hit with 15 missiles, 148 drones. This was in the last 24 hours. Just in the 4th day of the war.
Any goodwill it may have had in that region. Gulf states are seeing hundreds of Iranian rockets, missiles, and
Iran is the weakest point that it's been here since it hijacked Iran.
So they actually talked about a little bit about Iran there, but look at this one.
A $20 billion reinsurance program, and Energy Secretary.
This one was 7 hours ago. This one's more recent.
Chris Wright says the U.S. Navy will begin escorting vessels through the strait when it is safe to do so.
First, we got to get their ability to cause trouble way down. And then as soon as it's reasonable to do it, we'll escort ships through the straits and get the energy moving again.
While Iranian ballistic missile strikes are down 90% and drone attacks 83%, attacks continue here against the UAE. 9 more ballistic missiles and over 100 drones launched overnight, all except 3 drones shot down. Since the start of the war on Saturday, the UAE has been attacked the most by Iran, with over 1,000 drones and missiles fired at the country. More than 90% have been successfully shot down. And after the war on Saturday, the UAE has been attacked the most by Iran, with over 1,000 drones and missiles fired at the country. More than 90% have been successfully shot down. And officials have confirmed the war on Saturday, the UAE has been attacked the most by Iran, with over 1,000 drones.
So now it's over 1,000. When I went into this, today's Saturday, just before camp, when I went into this, I think it was Wednesday, it was like 500 drones. Or I think that was Tuesday.
And missiles fired at the country. More than 90% have been successfully shot down. And officials have confirmed that the war on Saturday, the UAE has been attacked the most by Iran, with over 1,000 drones and missiles fired at the country. More than 90% have been successfully shot down. And officials have confirmed that the United Arab Emirates has frozen all Iranian assets here in the Gulf state. Brett?
Lucas Thompson, live in Dubai. Lucas, thanks. Nate Foy in Tel Aviv with the latest tonight. Good evening, Nate.
Hey, Brett, good evening. In the first week of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. forces have struck 3,000 Iranian positions, many of them ballistic missile sites. But tonight, Iran is proving they still have missiles to fire. Just about 15 minutes ago here in Tel Aviv, we heard the sirens go off for the 6th time today. We saw about a dozen interceptor missiles get fired off right over my shoulder. So the war rages on both ways. Israel remains on the offensive. The air defense remains strong, but they are inflicting punishing blows in Iran and also in Lebanon. They've hit 500 Hezbollah military sites, including several command centers. Today in Tehran, Israel destroyed an underground bunker built for and often used by Iran's former supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. A senior Israeli official tells Fox Khamenei didn't use the bunker the morning of his death because he didn't think the U.S. or Israel would kill him. We're learning more about the cluster munition that Iran fired at central Israel overnight. They're called dual-purpose improved conventional munitions, or DPICMs. They're incredibly difficult to intercept, and it takes time to clear the munitions. The U.S. gave Ukraine this same weapon back in 2023. So far, U.S. forces have hit Iranian control centers, air defense systems, and communication infrastructure. Many of those targets are in Iran's capital, where the residents of Tehran describe explosions nearly all day long. Tonight, the U.S. military base near Baghdad was hit by Iranian drones, or at least targeted by Iranian drones, as Iran has now targeted 12 countries across the region, including civilian infrastructure, as the U.S. military tonight says the targeting of innocent civilians will not go unanswered. Brett?
Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. Nate, thanks. As we told you at the top of the show, President Trump is demanding an unconditional surrender from Iran. He says the Islamic arm
earlier calling air superiority very critical to victory here.
This one was 20 hours ago.
To think about. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana. President Trump now warning Iranian
Surging air campaign intensifies attacks on Iran.
forces there will be no deal except with unconditional surrender. So that's something else to think about. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino. Bill Hemmer is off today.
Yeah, interesting language from the president. Unconditional surrender is something that we think about when we think about World War II and Japan, and it seems the president is, very focused on
Of IDF jets obliterating the
Israeli jets bombard Hezbollah targets in Beirut.
underground complex used by Iran's supreme leader before he was killed last weekend.
former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo earlier calling air superiority very critical to victory here.
Iran's northern border, and what do you hear today?
U.S. and Israeli jets pound Iranian targets.
Ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since
that the presidential palace, gray and black plumes rising up, Many residents of Tehran saying this was the worst night yet as far as just the sounds of the attacks. Iran TV saying that the presidential palace was one of the key targets, and U.S. military officials saying Iran's military capabilities have been significantly degraded.
If I just look back over the last 24 hours of the operation compared to where we were at its start, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since day one. Drone attacks have decreased by 83% since day one. Having said this, we remain vigilant.
And one of the key targets.
Yeah, so they're making Iran look weak. They're making Iran look weak. But Iran hasn't gone to the negotiating table because they know they got this. And the U.S. hasn't taken and defeated Iran yet. If U.S. was that powerful, it would have already finished this war already. See, but it hasn't because Iran is strong. It's actually a strong nation.
Meanwhile, Israel is now facing a two-front war with missile and rocket attacks from Iran, as well as Hezbollah in Lebanon. For the latest on the ground, we go to our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yinks, who is live in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Hey guys, good morning. I do want to start with some breaking news. A senior Israeli official.
Yeah, that one's kind of old. That was 3 days ago once again.
To the war in Iran, tonight NBC News is reporting
This is 6 hours ago.
President Trump is seriously considering sending a small group of ground troops into the country for what he calls strategic purposes. The president is also insisting that American strikes will only end if Iran surrenders unconditionally. Iran and Israel traded blows again today, each firing missiles at the other. Meantime, U.S. government sources say Russia is giving Iran information about the location of U.S. forces across the Middle East. President Trump downplayed the threat during a college sports roundtable at the White House just hours ago.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. I mean, what a stupid question that is to be asking.
Tonight, the State Department announced it approved a $150 million arms sale to Israel. President Trump says tomorrow he will attend the dignified transfer for the 6 U.S. service members killed in Kuwait.
Imagery showing the extent of
Tehran skyline burns as men how bad our airport hit by strikes.
Ministry of Defense says that an Iranian ballistic missile was launched toward their country and it was shot down by NATO air defense systems, fragments of that missile landing in southern Turkey. This is a major development and the first time that a country like Turkey has received incoming Iranian ballistic missile fire. This comes as the Israelis are going after more of those launching positions inside of Iran. We also have some new video of strikes against the Iranian capital of Tehran. It's been a lot of back and forth. Alerts went out on the phone here this morning after an 8-hour lull in launches. And actually, we're getting sirens right now. And I'm not sure where this missile is coming from. It may not be Iran. It could be Lebanon. Let's get off the sticks here just to prepare. The reason I'm not sure if it's from Iran is because we just got a notification from the Army that people could leave bomb shelters. And these sirens just started to sound at the last minute. And so we'll have to see where this incoming fire is coming from. But just to give you a sense of what's happening here, this is a conflict that is expanding regionally. And this information that we're getting from the Turkish Defense Ministry indicates that the Iranians are launching more of their long-range ballistic missiles. And they do have thousands of them in their arsenal, 2,000 to 3,000, just before this conflict began, along with many short-range missiles that they've been launching at Gulf countries like Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. But again, right now, sirens are sounding across central Israel. And I just want to come with me here, Yaniv, if you could go to the road here. You can see under this bridge in the distance, people have gotten out of their cars and they are now sheltering under a bridge on the side of the road. Stay with me here. We're going to pan up to the sky and you see 2 interceptor rounds. And right there to the left, Yaniv. And you see another interception round coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, another one coming up from the sea. This is a large-scale attack that is happening right now. I'm going to move this so you can get out here to the balcony. Stay with me here, guys. And out to the center above these buildings to your left, Yaniv. Pan to the left. And so, a large attack again, and you can hear those explosions now ringing out throughout Tel Aviv. Just stay with me here. I'm going to get a helmet on. I'm listening to you. Massive explosions right now.
You know what system that would be to knock out a long-range missile? Is the Arrow, David Sling? Is it the Iron Dome?
Yeah, that would probably be Israel's Arrow 2 or 3. Actually, the reality here for the Israeli people as
Jewels or houses down on the ground, right?
But first, breaking tonight, multiple sources tell Fox the U.S. and Israel are offensive against Iran. Thousands.
Yeah, this was on yesterday. Or no, Thursday. From Fox.
Of Kurds are launching a ground offensive inside Iran. Meantime, President Trump saying the U.S. is in a very strong position now in its conflict with Iran. He's adding that it seems everyone who wants to lead that country ends up dead. The top U.S. military commander in the Middle East says the American assault has just begun. The U.S. Senate has just rejected a Democratic effort to limit the president's authority to attack Iran. A U.S. submarine today sank an Iranian warship.
This Trump says U.S. is winning against Iran as war widens in Middle East. Yep. Missile wipeout. Trump says U.S. is winning against Iran as war widens in Middle East, man. Yeah, so that's pride. That's the pride of Esau right there. Proud of Esau. That's the pride of Esau. The proud, that proud American Edomite rhetoric. Trump says U.S. is winning. So yeah, they want to make Iran look bad for the most part. Trump wants to do that. That's what Trump's gonna do. I actually want to get Ezekiel 39. We spoke a little bit on Ezekiel 38. And I went all into that in the last video about the World War III. Ezekiel 39 and 1. Therefore, son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus says Yahweh Baal Shemeshah, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. It's Russia once again. Meshach is the ancient way of saying Moscow. Tubal is the old way of saying Turkey. And we pulled a map of that in the last video. And AI even got that correct there. And I would turn the bag and put hook. Leave but the sixth part of the. And that's some of their army. And cause thee to come up from the north parts. They're going to come from Russia to fight in this, describing the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. And will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. It's going to be the elect, the army of the elect, when they set foot in the Middle East to fight, to get ready to fight the Russian army and of all the other armies that are left. They're going to join with Russia. 3, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and will cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. And that's basically their army being defeated, and spiritual powers. Because with the spiritual powers, we're gonna have telekinesis, and also be able to pull. They're gonna have their guns, and we're gonna be able to, Lord willing, if I'm part of the elect, to pull their guns from their hands, take their guns from their hands with our minds. For thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel. They're going to want to fight Israel. That thou and all thy bands and all the people that is with thee, I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort. Means they're going to die. And to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Thou shalt fall upon the field, for I have spoken it, says the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai of hosts. And I will send a fire on Magog and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai. The Lord says he's going to send a fire on Magog. That's through America being destroyed. Because it says that dwell carelessly on the isles. That's America. And they shall know that I am the Yahweh Shemeshai. 7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. And the heathens shall know that I am the Yahweh Shemeshai, the Holy One of Israel. It's going to be the kingdom. Behold, it is come, it is done, says Yahweh. This is the day whereof I have spoken. 9. And they that walk in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons. Now I'll come back to this. And I want to get this. Basically, I'm asked AI, is Iran winning the war against the U.S.? This is they say the outcome of the current conflict between the U.S. and Iran is not yet settled, as the war has only entered its second week of March 7th, 2026. Yeah, and the fact that the war is still going on shows you that the U.S. really ain't that strong. They ain't as that powerful as you thought or think to take down Iran. So Iran is pretty much holding itself. It's proven itself, man. And once again, Iran's a big, very big land. You ain't just gonna be able to take it down easily. It says, while the U.S. and its allies have achieved significant initial military objectives, Iran is employing asymmetric strategies and retaining its governance despite heavy losses. Current military status: the U.S. and its partners have conducted an intensive campaign dubbed Operation Epic Fury, which has severely degraded Iranian conventional capabilities. Decisive U.S. gains: U.S. Central Command, their CENTCOM, reports striking over 3,000 targets and damaging or destroying at least 43 Iranian warships. Iranian missile and drone launch capabilities have reportedly dropped by approximately 90 to 8 and 83%, respectively. It says ongoing retaliation. Despite these losses, Iran continues to launch retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases, Israel, and neighboring Gulf states. Differing perspectives on winning. The U.S. government stance. President Trump's Secretary of War Pete Hegseth maintained that the U.S. is winning decisively. The administration's stated goal is the unconditional surrender of the Iranian regime. Iranian resilience. Iranian leadership has rejected all calls for surrender, describing the U.S. demands as a dream. Experts note that while Iran cannot win a conventional war, it may attempt a war of attrition to inflict high economic and political costs on the U.S. Humanitarian and economic impact. The war is costing U.S. taxpayers an estimated $890 million per day. In Iran, the death toll has reached at least 1,332 people. The regional energy production faces potential shutdowns that could destabilize global economies. The U.S. officials expect achieving primary military aims within 4 to 6 weeks. Analysts warn that the risk of a forever war or total state collapse remains high if a stable successor to the Iranian regime is not established. And then I googled here, What heavy casualties has Iran recently given back against the U.S.? As of March 7, 2026, the U.S. military has confirmed that at least 6 American service members have been killed in retaliatory strikes launched by Iran following the start of Operation Epic Fury on February 28, 2026. While Iranian officials have claimed much higher numbers, alleging over 500 or 650 U.S. casualties. Key incidents at Kuwait's Tactical Operations Center was struck by an Iranian munition, resulting in the deaths of 4 Army Reserve members. Regional facilities, the remains of 2 additional service members were recovered from a facility hit during Iran's initial retaliatory wave. Naval targets. Iranian missiles have repeatedly targeted the U.S. Navy 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Though specific casualty breakdowns for these individual strikes are still emerging. I'm gonna look this up here. How many targets has Iran hit? As of March 7, 2026, Iran has reportedly struck at least 12 U.S. and allied military installations and has launched attacks across at least 11 countries in the Middle East and surrounding regions, while Iran has launched over 500 ballistic missiles and 2,000 drones since the conflict escalated in late February. The majority of these have been intercepted by regional and U.S. air defense systems. Yeah, so it still looks like, unless they're lying, they could be lying. Because they're saying here Iran has struck at least 12 targets. But then here it's saying they have struck over 27 plus bases. Or targeted at least 27 bases.
Ship in the Indian Ocean, the first time that's happened since World War II. Iran is warning of the destruction of the Middle East military and economic infrastructure. Turkey, meantime, says NATO defenses intercepted a ballistic missile launched from Iran before it entered Turkey's airspace. And U.S. authorities are working to get Americans out of the Middle East every day, while American troops are getting an assist from a key ally. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin begins our coverage tonight. Good evening, Jen.
Good evening, Brett. A senior U.S. official tells Fox that thousands of Kurds have crossed from Iraq into Iran to launch a ground offensive. Their goal, to give the Iranian people the confidence to rise up. These are Kurdish Iranian militias entering from Iraq. According to U.S. Central Command, in its first 24 hours, the U.S. military operation was twice the scale of shock and awe at the start of the Iraq War. An American submarine hunted and sank an Iranian frigate, the Iris Dina, in the Indian Ocean.
For the first time since 1945, a United States Navy fast attack submarine has sunk an enemy combatant ship, using a single Mark 48 torpedo to achieve immediate effect, sending the warship to the bottom of the sea.
Separately, the U.S. military sank one of Iran's newest prized Navy vessels, a corvette, named after Qasem Soleimani, the general who headed the IRGC coup.
Come after, you can still be concerned about the uncertainties of warfare, but to render this awful regime incapable of using its military power, that's a worthy goal.
There's, talk about not restricting what the military may or may not do going forward. You've obviously been through this with wars as National Security Advisor, as Secretary.
First, we are targeting
I do want to start with some new information we've received from U.S. Central Command, who says in a historic first, long-range precision strike missiles were used in combat
endured near constant bombardment, and now it's facing the threat of a full-scale invasion. The invaders won't be American, nor will they be Israeli, or at least not the vast majority of the forces who will place boots on the ground. Instead, Israeli Mossad, the American CIA, and the air forces of both nations are getting ready to support a massive ground offensive by Kurdish paramilitaries. Crossing the border from Iraq, the Kurds are expected to arrive in the thousands as soon as mere days or even hours from the time that this episode is released. For the Kurds, the offensive is a chance to carve out a section of their ancestral homeland, and for the US and Israel, it's a plan that could push Iran over the edge into total regime collapse. For the past several months, Kurdish forces have been preparing in secret, and now Iran seems to have caught on. Allied forces in the air are already creating a path, and other regional forces with decades-long designs on Iranian territory are sensing their moment to strike. Iran is just inches from fighting a ground war, potentially even on multiple fronts. So here's what's going to happen, and here's why it matters. Brewing in the background. For Iran war observers and geopolitical analysts across the globe, Wednesday the 4th of March was a very strange day. Over the prior 48 hours, open-source trackers and regional experts had started to raise the spectre of a potential Kurdish offensive into Iran, picking up on telltale signs that something somewhere was brewing. That evening, however, Israeli outlet I-24 News broke a story that seemed like it would change everything. Thousands of Kurdish fighters were already on the attack, pouring across the border region in armored columns streaming southward. Unconfirmed video began to circulate, well-connected journalists started piling on, and then, almost out of nowhere, the fever broke. Highly reputable experts, speaking with Kurdish leaders and sources on the ground, denied that the offensive had begun, and where social media would typically be bombarded with new reports and videos of carnage on the ground, none came. By the next morning, most of the claims that the offensive was happening had already been retracted, even as major news outlets started discussing in depth the fact that a Kurdish advance still seems to be on the way. Here at Warfronts, we can't offer precise clarification about just how or why the international geopolitics community got its wires crossed, but we can confirm a few things. Number one, any large-scale Kurdish offensive has not yet started as the time this episode was written, although it's possible that a few early Kurdish advances into the border zone at the same time as these claims of a larger offensive went out may have contributed to the confusion. Number two, Kurdish forces are massing on the Iranian border, even if the attack hasn't started yet. And observation number three, whenever this offensive does begin, it is going to be big. Now look, in order to understand what's happening here, we'll start with some of the very basics. The Kurdish people are a diaspora population with roughly 25 to 30 million people living in the Middle East and 5 to 10 million across the globe. They have no state of their own, but they lay claim to a sprawling region known as Kurdistan, portions of which are located in modern-day Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. In Iran, Kurds live mostly in the northwest, along the border with northern Iraq, where Iraqi Kurdistan functions as a semi-autonomous region. That's where Kurdish forces are thought to be building up their strength in advance of an imminent attack. Kurdish forces have a long and storied history of collaboration with the global West, including the United States, although that hasn't always gone well for the Kurds, especially due to the influence of their primary arch.
Okay, he ain't really going into anything. Yeah, but I also noticed this, which was funny. Pakistan man, this Fox News, they said Pakistan man convicted of plotting to kill President Trump. So that's just an actor, just like Maduro. Actors. Paid actors. And that's like this typical playbook from 9/11. That's Esau for you.
Rival Turkey. Kurdish forces organize themselves into a range of paramilitary groups which operate often, but not always, join together to form a coalition, thus unifying the armed wing on the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. agencies or other advanced specialized to a direct intervention by Turkey to prevent Kurdish forces from taking hold. And the prospect of a Kurdish offensive raises a dangerous spectre in other parts of Iran, that the Kurds might not be the only group to try and slice off a part of Iran's territory. Immediately to the south of Iranian Kurdistan is a region where Iran's Arab population have wanted to seize autonomy for years. Across the nation, in the southeast, there's Sistan Balochistan, where the ethnic Baloch population has fought for sovereignty for years, both in Iran and across the Pakistani border. There's some evidence that the US and Israel have also been coordinating with the Balochs, who've become very good at running complex insurgent operations. Most dangerous of all could be the neighboring nation of Azerbaijan in the north along the Caspian Sea. Northern Iran is home to a large ethnic Azeri population, and Azerbaijan's leader Ilham Aliyev has made cheeky references to a claim over Iranian territory uncomfortably recently. That includes the city of Tabriz, as well as a fair portion of Iran's northern territory. Aliyev is a guy who really likes capturing land. Just see his capture of Nagorno-Karabakh from Armenia a couple of years ago. He's a guy with close ties to the US, including through ongoing major development projects, and now he's a guy with all the justification he needs. Days ago, Iranian drones struck the Azerbaijani city of Nakhchivan, and Aliyev responded almost immediately by ordering the military to prepare for retaliation. Even prior to that, Azerbaijani forces were already massing near the border, and its military...
Basically, it's gonna soon be a ground invasion. I'll just finish here in Ezekiel 39. This ain't my best video, but Ezekiel 39 and 10. Start this out, describing after the war is ended. Then Yahushua, because Yahushua is going to have the victory. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set fire on the shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows and the hand staves and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years. 10, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forests, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith Yahweh Shemashah. It says they shall take no wood out of the field, nor cut down any out of the forest, because we're gonna burn those weapons with. We could just use spiritual powers to burn those weapons. And then it mentions how we're going to spoil, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them, and rob those that robbed them. Meaning we're going to be spoiling. Brothers are going, whoever the elect are, they're going to be going to parts of the earth, parts of kingdoms, nations that have riches, wealth, to be spoiled by us. Lord willing, whoever the elect is. And they're going to, another spoil is going to be them, people, slaves, their own nations, gathering those people to wherever the elect designates them to go, and their riches and gold, silver, stuff like that, they're being taken by the elect. Whatever they may have that the elect may want to take from them, they shall spoil them that spoiled them. 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Haman Gog. Yeah, Khan. There's going to be a lot of dead bodies once again. And it's gonna be stinking because of all the dead bodies, and they're gonna be used to be buried there. And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. Come on. So it's gonna take a while to bury all those bodies, but we're not gonna be burying them. The elect, whoever they are, ain't gonna be burying them. The slaves are gonna be burying them. 13. Yea, all the people of the land of Israel shall bury them, and it shall be them to a renown the day that I shall be glorified, says Yahweh Bashem Messiah, a new holy day. 14. And they shall sever out men of continual employment passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth. To cleanse it after the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the bidders have buried it in the valley of Haman Gog. Look at what Haman Gog means. Multitude of Gog. From the Hebrew word root for a noisy crowd or multitude. East, they said east. It could be east of the Dead. Yeah, it is east of the Dead Sea. Ezekiel 9. "16. And also the name of the city shall be Hamona, thus shall they cleanse the land." Look up the word Hamona, meaning multitude or horde. Thus shall they cleanse the land. 17. And thou, son of man, thus says Yahweh Bashem Messiah, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do. Sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Yeah, it's going to be the heathens. The blood of the heathens. Going back to Ezekiel 30 and 3. For the day is near. For the day is near, even the day of Yahweh is near, a cloudy day. It shall be the time of the heathen. Yes, so because the Lord has a judgment against those nations. I'm gonna jump down a bit because basically the whole chapter, the rest of the chapter is easy to break down. 21. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed in my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Yahweh, their power, from that day and forward. 25. Therefore thus says Yahweh Bashem Shai, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that, they have been borne their shame, and that's the curses right now we're going through, and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in the land and not made them afraid. When I brought them again from the people and gathered them out of the enemy's lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Yup, many nations. The Lord is going to gather us from many nations and deliver us, man. Anyway, 28, then shall they know that I am the Yahweh, their God, which caused them to be led in the land captivity, into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. The kingdom once again, the salvation once again. The rest of this chapter is pretty easy. 29, neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, says Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And that's just going, the rest, most of the chapter is just going into the kingdom. Burying the dead bodies, Valley of Decision, Yahweh Shah returning. Shalom, Abad Abad.